Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Super Split Screen Brothers, where Wonder Bat is always canon, and unlike the Frenzy, the topics are set in stone. I am Nick from the Phoenix Press. Joining me is a non-Wonder Bat enjoyer, Jared from Comics League. How you doing, buddy?
Because I have taste in ships. That's why.
Them be fighting words,
For those
brother.
of you that don't know, I like Superman and Wonder Woman and Batgirl and Nightwing. By the way, I've actually done research into the Batman and Nightwing. It's not a joke anymore. I genuinely like that relationship.
Wait, Batman and Nightwing as a ship?
No. Dang it! I misspoke. I'm turning into Bruce Timm.
Oh, we got a crack ship. We got a crack ship.
I mean Batgirl and Nightwing.
Freudian slip. Freudian slip.
That's a hell of a Freudian slip, right, dude? You know what? Here, I'll give this to me. I'm gonna go to my account real quick just so I can use this proper thing because this is the level of move that I just gave.
Dweeb.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But the point is, I genuinely like Batgirl and Nightwing, but I also like Starfire. I'm fine with either one because either one has their merit.
Read the new Teen Titans run from Marvel and George Perez, and if you do not come out a Nightfire shipper, then I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to declare you legally a moron.
You know what? I am gonna do that because I've been eyeing that omnibus on my Amazon wish list for so long, and I'm like, you know what? Because Teen Titans is one of those books that I've always wanted to really get into because everyone tells me it's fantastic. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. So, and obviously George Perez, you got to go George Perez.
Tell you what. Here's my offer. Okay, we will do a series of videos where, because there's probably multiple volumes of the omnibus or whatever, and we will both each read like a volume of the omnibus or whatever section it is. I will be rereading it, so like I read a large portion of that run, so I'll be rereading it. So I'll be refreshing my memory. He'll be
Wait, is there 5 volumes?
Yeah, the run went on for a while.
Jeez, and it's dirt cheap. So I'm like, I could order this now. Later, but actually, that is really cheap. Plus $50. Jeez.
All right, for all 5?
No, for the first one.
Oh, $50 being cheap, dear God.
In terms of omnibus, dude, that normally go to 150. I'm like, yeah, I may have to check this out.
All right, so this is some possible future content, most likely on Jared's channel because he's more the comic focused, while I'm both comics and video games. So I think
I am making the executive decision on Comics League. This is something we are going to do because I think it's be really fun. It's kind of like a new version of Rewatch, except reread.
Yeah, and then I'll get the volumes from the library and whatnot, so no big deal, you know.
It's a fantastic idea.
And then we're like basically, you know, I'll be reviewing it. I'll be take the position of like the super fan and whatnot, and you'll be like the new person.
We could even stream it, and you could restream it too.
Works for me.
All right.
So yeah.
All right. By the way, I genuinely am excited for this.
All right, we got some new content on the way, and we haven't barely even started the show. So Jared, as always, what you playing, playa?
All right, so I've been playing some Justice League Heroes. Speaking of classic tie-in games, so there you go. # full circle, which I dig the crap out of that game. It's a little buggy because it's on the 360. It kind of like the like porting isn't as good, but it's not enough that I can't play it. It's just what happens that occasionally, sometimes the game will like slow down and then speed back up, which I'm fine with that because honestly, it looks like I'm in a Zack Snyder movie where everything goes into slow motion. So I'm fine with that.
You know the old joke, like, how do you get Zack Snyder to do a 2-hour movie? Turn off the slow-mo.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms,
and we say this with love. We love you, Zack Snyder.
In terms of comics,
honestly, I think even he would laugh at that joke.
Oh yeah. In terms of comics, I've been reading a lot of Mike Barron's The Punisher because it's Mike Barron's The Punisher. And I am resolving.
That guy is a really good writer. We should totally get him on one of our channels.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe we've never talked to him before. Hint, hint.
I know, right?
By the way, thank you so much, Nick. That was a thrill. And speaking of other guys we've had on the show, I've resolved that I finally have the time my reading schedule because I have like a couple of shelves of books I need to get through. My next DC like big book is going to be Nightfall. I'm about halfway done with Nightfall, and I am digging the crap out of it.
Speaking of Chuck Dixon, another run that we're going to have to cover, me and you.
Nightwing?
Yes.
You know how I knew that? You tell me to pick it up all the time. I will try and find that.
I will say, I do think we should do Chuck Dixon and Devin Grayson, because I think Devin Grayson's run is actually a very good extension of what Chuck Dixon was doing. Like, it's different, but I think it still has kind of a similar feel. So, like, Chuck Dixon, Devin Grayson is usually what I consider, like, classic Nightwing.
And then for my pick, we're going to do the Jeff Johns Justice League run from the New 52. And then my second pick, because you picked two, we're going to do the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman run.
Nice. Some other ones that I recommend is, have you covered Hush on your channel before?
Not as a story discussion. I mentioned it, but not as a story discussion. So yeah, obviously we're going to do Hush.
That's on the that's on the list.
Yeah.
I do want to cover 90s Young Justice. I think that's kind of an important run. Maybe the early Jeff Johns Teen Titans run from like 2003. George
Perez Wonder Woman.
Yes. Frank Miller Daredevil is definitely
All-Star Superman.
All-Star Batman.
That'd be a fun thing to do. Cover all the Frank Miller Batman books.
But Frank Miller Daredevil, I really do.
Oh yes, I have Man Without Fear, and that and the Chip Zdarsky run are some of my favorite Daredevil content ever.
I think it'd be fun to do like Untangling the Clone Saga, where we just like
Jesus, like that would take way too long.
Yeah, that's a multi-part.
You know what we should do too? That I have to start reading, so I'll be reading with you. 52. Those that don't know what that is, after Infinite Crisis, when the Trinity disbanded, there was a series where a new issue came out every week, and it talked about relatively unknown or untouched heroes of the DC universe, like Booster Gold, Black Adam, Renee Montoya, and it said, here's what the DCU looks like without these characters. It still had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in it. It was showing like what they were doing during the year they were on vacation. It's actually really good.
Also, we need to cover Y the Last Man at some point.
Yeah. By the way, I love how so far. Well, technically, it's on topic for this episode because we're talking about licensed comic book games, so that works.
I mean, you know my policy. If it's good conversation, I'm hard pressed to.
And please, Jeff Johns Green Lantern.
With guest star Ethan Van Sciver.
Dude, that would be the dream team, dude. If that could ever happen.
No, when we're discussing the episode, Ethan is actually here.
No, I know. What I'll do is when we start doing that, I'll invite him and say, hey, we're talking about the Green Lantern run you did with Jeff. If you want to show up, that's fine. If you want to hang out in the chat and say hi, that's also fine too.
Also, this is something that I've been trying to get to is Justice League New Frontier. I need to get around to finishing it, but I've been. The thing is, I've actually become friends with on Twitter, Valerie.
When we talk about that storyline, she has to be on that episode.
Well, we're gonna try, and
we'll try.
Like, I think she might agree to it, but that would be a great episode to have the editor of that book on the stream talk about it. Like, that's a live stream right there. That's a mother freaking live stream right there.
Do you want to tackle Watchmen?
Sure.
That could be a tough one, but that'd be fun.
I mean, when we have Zack Snyder on, we can talk. Look at us, we're acting like all big shots and whatnot.
Well, with the rate our channels are growing, we will be at that point anyway. So let's get to the.
I know one book you're going to be covering here in the next month or so.
Oh yeah, this dweeby book called 2100 Samurai.
Yeah, we'll kind of kind of got some stuff in the news, but you might be doing a review of issue 3 here. You should really get the writer of that show on.
Yeah, I know. Except I don't know if I have an in with him.
I know he's kind of an asshole. So
yeah, well, kind of.
yeah, I mean, I hear like I've seen the guy. He's good looking, but
I've
like,
heard
he's
he has
kind
really
of a dick.
crappy taste in chips, like the worst taste.
He really does. He really does. Like, seriously, every time he mentions Wonder Bat, I just die a little inside.
Yeah, it's like he obviously is incapable of logical thinking.
No.
By the way, I have to make this. We have to cover the Superman and Wonder Woman series from the New 52. I think you would actually dig that series a lot.
I'm open to the possibility. So as for what I've been
that will
playing,
make you a Super Wonder fan, dude. Legit.
All right. Let's kind of get this train back on the track.
So what do you? Oh, by the way, I recently started showing my mom Man of Steel because she watched The Flash. She liked it and she wanted to learn more about the stuff.
Your mom is cool.
She wants to see all of the comic book movies. She wants to see all the Batman movies because she loved Nolan. She loves Snyder. So I'm like, you already have
Batman
fantastic
and Robin.
Yeah, she wants to see all of them, and yeah, so it's gonna be really fun to show her all this stuff.
So you're gonna show her all of the Batman movies?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will.
Does that include 1966?
Oh yeah, because she was an Adam West fan.
We need to cover that on the show sometime.
That needs to be a drop. Some days you just can't.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
And by the way, it's gonna.
Oh! I know the perfect, that Pina Farms thing. Like, you need to get like a picture of like David Zaslav and put it on his face.
Oh, with the Flash. Sometimes you just can't get rid of. He's trying to get rid of the Flash. Sometimes you just can't get rid of bomb. By the way, it leaked on Twitter. Did you see that? It was on Twitter for like 8 hours. 8 hours. It was on Twitter.
Oh wow!
But
anyway, you need to make that GIF and turn it into a drop.
You know what? I may do that because I have Photoshop now, so I can do that. And I have plenty of photos of Zaslav. That would be so. And I'll cover the bomb with a poster of the Flash.
No, you need to make it like a GIF or like a video thing, and like how the bomb had the Flash symbol on it.
Have like lightning coming off of it. Because so far it's like it's like the biggest. It's one of the biggest bombs in box office history.
It actually beat BVS as biggest box office drop.
So now so thank you, Flash. As a matter of, it's kind of funny. BVS is short of Aquaman. It's the highest like theatrical DCEU movie.
Did it beat Joker?
DCEU.
Okay, so mainline. Okay, cool.
Mainline. And I said not counting Aquaman because that was honestly that's just because that movie was freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. So anyway, sorry, Nick. So what do you do? So what do you play?
Courage approves a BVS. By the way, Courage is a BVS fan.
Of course, because he, unlike his master, has good taste and stuff.
I like BVS.
I'm kidding. I thought we were still doing the joke.
No, I love you, brother. But as for me, I've been playing actually a bunch of different games. Final Fantasy 15, kind of stopped with that one. I've been playing some Cyberpunk. A lot of really good stuff. But we've kind of been farting around enough, so let's just kind of we don't got anything for the news. We were going to have
the Flash leaking on Twitter for 8 hours, but that's
Oh, yes, we do have one piece of news that I want to share. So we are recording this on Monday. This goes out on Wednesday, of course. So, as of today, Torrent Samurai number 3 is officially in print.
Okay, hang on. Where's the appropriate drop for that? All right, hang on.
It's coming.
I'm going to my account because for some reason I don't have this in here. So here you go, Nick. This is for you. There you go. That's for you. You earned that, brother.
Yes, that is well deserved. Courage, he is pleased. He accepts your offering. Mm-hmm. But he asks if you have keys.
Ah, dang it. I gave cheese to the rat down the street.
Wait, you're feeding other rats?
No. I'm walking around.
Are you feeding on Courage? dare you? How dare you? So that's the news we got. So let's just kind of go straight into the main topic here.
All right. So Nick, you want to introduce our topic to the fine people watching at home?
All right. So this is going to be a bit of an involved thing. We're going to be covering comic book adaptations in video games, and what we're going to do is we're going to go by game generation, kind of talk about some highlights. Some games talk more about others. Some games will just breeze past.
And I want to be clear, based upon our age difference, there's going to be a period of this where I'm going to be like silent because I'm not as old as Nick, so I haven't played these.
Yes, and I will be including clips, like short little clips of all the games we have as we talk about them. So this is my message to Nick in the future. You better put in those clips. I swear, God dang you. I'm talking to you, Nick. Put in those clips.
And if you don't, I will change. I will make Nick a temporary intro that just puts his logo on Captain Marvel.
He'll do it. He'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it. You better do it. Do not test me. I give Talani a Gotham Knights intro, dude.
All right, so we sent that message in the future. That's awesome. And by the way, I'm keeping that in the show.
And by the way, Jared in the future, nice beard, bro.
And Nick, I should probably trim a little bit. So, all right. That was funny. Yes, I am keeping that in the show.
Off the rails, but please keep that in. That's
awesome. This whole episode's going off the rails, and I don't really care. It's fun. So, so yeah, we'll be going by each generation. And for those who don't know, video games tend to like go into generations, periods of time. I'll like kind of lay out like the systems roughly we're going to talk about. Just because I name a system doesn't mean we'll have a game from it, but just kind of give you an idea of like the time period. So first off, we're going to start in the second generation of video games, which is like the Atari, the Intellivision, ColecoVision, which actually is before even my time. Like I'm not prior to what Jared thinks. I am not that old.
Okay, so the way I imagine this is that before Nick was born, you had the invention of the wheel. Then Nick was born, and then you got his generation of games.
I can do
nice
that
being the youngest.
Yeah, whatever. With age comes wisdom. Anyway, well,
that's what you call it.
Okay. So I did show some clips of these games to Jared before we started filming, so he kind of has a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about beforehand. But like not everything, but it should help. So we're talking about like the Atari, the second generation, and the first one I wanted to mention is Spider-Man. Now, like basically Spider-Man, Superman. We're gonna like briefly touch upon this generation. Jared, what did you think when I showed you those clips?
I liked them. They look very much like they're from that time period. And the only thing that like really identified like the Superman one to me as Superman is like the blue and red character, and the fact that I did think it was kind of clever that the way you change between Superman and Clark is you just flew into the phone booth. That's actually really clever. I like that. And the Spider-Man one, the only thing that really identifies him as Spider-Man is the web swing. By the way, it's a missed opportunity. I would have had the Atari Spider-Man show up in Spider-Verse. Can you imagine if they did that?
I think that's a little bit too obscure even for Spideyverse.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like my history is when I grew up, my family had an NES and there's an Atari 2600 at my grandma's house. I did not play these as a kid. I think I was aware of them. But like looking at the footage, they look in line for what a above average Atari game looked like. And trust me, I played some crap. Moving on, we're going to go up a generation here. So that's your cue, Jared. We're going to go up to the third generation of video games, which is like NES, Master System. This is like right as I was being born. So like I was born in 87, Atari came out in 85. So it's like, this is like NES is the one I grew up with. And this is really where licensed video games really started to blow up. You had stuff like Silver Surfer, X-Men, you had a Superman game, and then on the computers, you had Batman, which is on the Amiga. I literally said it that way because I edited around it, kind of thing.
So old.
Yeah, and I did show you the clip of Silver Surfer on the NES. What did you think of it?
It looked nothing like the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, that one is notoriously known for being bad, and that's kind of a problem with a lot of these games of this generation. is a lot of them weren't that good. They're kind of made by LJN and whatnot.
But let me get this straight. It's they basically adapted the whole modern MCU thing of not having comic book fans in the process of making games.
Except 40 years earlier.
Except 40 years earlier. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh yeah, that works out swimmingly.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, and then the Batman one, you could tell it was actually a little bit higher quality.
Yeah, they actually let you drive the Batmobile, which I was surprised on that. I was like, oh wow, really?
Oh, on that note, when we get to the next generation, trust me, I'll point out a game that you might want to play. Mm-hmm. Speaking of going to the next generation, we have the 4th generation of video games, which is really kind of where my earliest gaming memories were forged. Which you have stuff like the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, Game Boy, and whatnot.
That was kind of my era too. Because I mean, I had a Game Boy Advance, and that's where I started like playing games. Which I played like Power Rangers Wild Force. I count that because Power Rangers are superheroes, basically.
Well, Wild Force, that's 2000. That's like early 2000s. So you're about 10 years. You're about 10 years early, brother.
I tried to jump in, but he's like, "No, you're not that old, Jared."
Jared, you're about 10 years too early on this one. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so I'm not so far off.
We're in 90. We're the year range we're talking about now is like 90 to 95. So yeah, you're a bit early, brother. Some of the highlights. So this is kind of where my personal memories is a game called TMNT Turtles in Time, which is like a really good multiplayer beat 'em up. I loved it. Konami actually was really good with like their arcade beat 'em ups. Like there's a really good X-Men arcade game to where if me and Jared are ever at an arcade and they have that cabinet, we are playing it. Yes. And trust me, Jared, you will love it.
Because I slay at arcade games.
Yes. Also, if there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet, Jared, we are playing it.
Oh, heck yeah. TURTLE power.
Yeah, so the Turtles in Time is for Super Nintendo. There was a Genesis version called Hyperstone Heist, which is similar but quite different. And then some other games, like you had Batman Returns, it's kind of like your standard beat-em-up belt scroller kind of thing. I've shown clips of it. It's actually a pretty decent game. The Genesis version of Batman Returns for Sega CD actually has some really nice Batmobile segments. So if you really like that clip of like on the Amiga, you actually would like to play Batman Returns on the Sega CD. So like I actually think you'd like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then let's jump forward once more to the 5th generation, which I will say is when the fun really starts. Which you have stuff like N64, PS1, Game Boy Color. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid, shall we? Jared, do you like rings?
I know what you're playing. My only exposure to that Crime Against Superman fan that game is on the level of Joss Whedon's Justice League, by the way. And
no. You're giving it too much credit. Superman 64 makes Justice League look like Zack Snyder's Justice League by comparison.
Yeah, but my only exposure,
it makes it look like
it makes Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, look like Superman 1. That's what it makes it look like. But
it makes Batman and Robin look like the Dark Knight.
Yeah, but so my only exposure to this thing, I am not even going to call it a game, was the honest trailer for the game.
One of these days, when I buy another SD4, I will buy this game, and like I come visit Jared, and like, Jared, I brought my N64, so I got GoldenEye.
Reactions, dude.
Oh yeah, like oh my god, yes. I brought Smash Brothers, brought GoldenEye. Oh, if we're talking about like really bad N64 superhero games, I gotta bring up Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is like infamously bad.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just I can't wait for your first reaction of playing N64. It's like I had an idea of how bad this was in my head. It's somehow worse.
Oh boy. That's always the best feeling in the world, isn't it? When you think
Yes.
something's bad, but it's actually worse.
That is gonna be such a great stream. Like, so that'll be your first time playing the game on actual hardware and whatnot, you know.
By the way,
yeah.
so speaking of that, so are we in the early 2000s yet?
We're in the late 90s. We're not
Okay.
quite on the PS2 generation yet.
Because I have a game that I want to bring up that I was watching gameplay of last night. That was in 2003.
That's next.
Okay.
The 6th gen. So we're right on the precipice of that. Some other games I wanted to bring up was the Spider-Man duology of Spider-Man and Spider-Man Enter Electro. Now, Jared, I showed you footage of the first game. What did you think?
Looks dope. Actually looks pretty fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and get myself a copy of that game because I actually do have a PS2 because I'm old and wrinkly and whatnot.
And decrepit.
Because trust me, when I come visit you or you come visit me, we are playing some classics.
Fun fact. I wanted a PlayStation, but my parents got me because at the time Transformers Armada was a PlayStation exclusive, so I wanted to play that. My parents got me an Xbox instead, and then shortly thereafter they got me Halo, and I was like, no, this is a worthy trade.
I think your parents made the right call.
Oh yeah, they totally did. Because here's the thing, I've seen the PlayStation exclusives. Yeah, they're pretty cool, but Halo, Gears.
I'm sorry, I never really got into Halo myself, so
there's no time like the present, my friend.
We shall see. You know, we always have that co-op let's play we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll discuss that at some point. And then two other ones I briefly want to mention was X-Men versus Street Fighter, which was kind of like the early kind of days of what would come, and then a really bad game that I actually played as a kid. I rented it for a week. Was Incredible Hulk: The Pantheon Saga, which that game is so bad.
Yeah, you put in the show notes, and I'm like, what? Because the earliest Hulk game I remember is Ultimate Destruction, and that was awesome.
Oh, Hulk games go back really far. Like, there's one for like the Apple II. It's kind of more like a text adventure.
And I actually
there's some for the Super Nintendo Genesis.
I briefly played the tie-in game for Ang Lee's Hulk. It wasn't that bad, actually.
So yeah, this was kind of like my prime game playing as a kid, and now we're entering. Jared has entered the arena with the 6th generation of games.
Yes, this is where technically I came in the 7th gen, but some of my favorite games are in the 6th gen.
Yes, but now we're in an era where you can actually participate in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I still play Justice League Heroes, baby. That game is freaking dope.
So, we're talking about Hulk. Let's just kind of like bleed over into that one. Let's talk about Hulk Ultimate Destruction. What was your memories of that game?
Being able to just free roam and smash stuff as the Hulk, and then your the threat level thing was one of the coolest things because all of a sudden I got like tanks and those helicopters from the Ang Lee Hulk movie coming after me, and I'm like, the heck is going on here? To the point where I would stay in the part of the game before that mechanic is introduced, so I could just smash stuff without consequences. It worked.
Yeah, Hulk Ultimate Destruction is viewed as probably one of if not the best Hulk games there has been.
The tie-in for the MCU that comes out later is like basically a reskin of that.
We'll get to that. That's next up, brother. So you're jump at the gun a little. It's okay. The first off that I want to talk about is probably one of the most important. In talking about history of comic book hero video games, like this is probably the most important game of them all. Spider-Man 2.
Yes, I played that game. That game was
so
mind-blowing.
Spider-Man 2 was a tie-in for the second movie, of course. Which, Spider-Man 2 is actually really good. But the thing is, the swinging mechanic introduced and the gameplay loop honestly set the template for Spider-Man games that are still followed to this day. Like if you look at Spider-Man 2018, or and then you look at Spider-Man 2, you can there's a lineage there that is very obvious.
Yeah, because the whole thing of like constantly having to hit the trigger in order to complete a web swing. Yeah, that was like
the rhythm of
because
it,
in the
the
one
physics.
because in Spider-Man 1, you just hit the trigger once and then he automatically just started web swinging.
Yeah, fun fact. So we're talking about like the Spider-Man 1 tie-in game. Like if you like that gameplay loop, the game design is actually heavily based on the PS1 video games.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
if you enjoyed Spider-Man 1 on the PS2, you're probably going to enjoy the PS1 games.
I played more of Spider-Man 3 is the one that I played the most of.
All right, fair enough, but like Spider-Man 2 basically set the template that all Spider-Man games beyond that followed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still following that template to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically Spider-Man 2 walked so 2018 could run. Like
yeah,
it is basically like the tree that it like the monolith that is Spider-Man 2018 was grown on the very fertile soil of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's building blocks. Like it's like I can't emphasize enough. I'm not saying these games are copying. It's just they're building upon the foundation that Spider-Man 2 sets.
It made it really easy for me to constantly advance in Spider-Man games because relatively it stayed the same. So in terms of that, and I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then some other notable ones. You have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which originally came out on the Sega Dreamcast and did get ported to PS2. That one's really important. Then you have stuff like Punisher for the Xbox. Have you played that game yet?
No, I want to. I have to check if it's backwards compatible.
You might want to look that up right now while I'm talking.
I probably
and then also like around this era, you had the birth of the MMO City of Heroes, which that one's a little bit outside the wheelhouse because it's not a comic book license, but I feel like in terms of comic book video games, it's rather important.
That was DC Online before DC Online.
And you might say City Heroes did the whole thing better, but that's fine.
Yeah. But the game, real quick, the game I wanted to bring up is called Aquaman. Actually, I just closed out that window for some reason, like a moron.
But I know which one you're going to say, so you go ahead, brother.
It's called Aquaman Battle for Atlantis.
All right. I haven't really played it that much, so you tell us about it.
Yeah, so basically it's one of the... I'm not sure if it's free roaming games. I didn't see enough of the gameplay for that, but basically it's actually really cool. So it came out in 2003, and when Arthur's like swimming through the ocean, you see like the water trails behind him. So it's actually pretty cutting edge for the time. And it's the 90s Aquaman with the hook hand, long hair, the beard. Yes! It's basically the Justice League for, one from the cartoon show.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And it looks really fun. It's to the point where I'm thinking of picking that up. And then you also had Superman, the Man of Steel, which was not as good as Aquaman, but it was more of it was one of the first free roam Superman games.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually pretty fun.
Yeah. So let's go up a generation and let's go to the 7th gen, where that is, trust me, this is where things really. This is where we're going to start to talk about games that you guys might have heard of,
And by the way, I want to start this with Ultimate Alliance because that game. Because if you ever want to introduce someone to Marvel, put them in that game because that game does such a fantastic job of introducing the Marvel universe.
Good thing. It's a good thing you brought that up because actually forgot to mention the X-Men Legends games from the last generation. Because like Ultimate Alliance is basically just a spiritual successor to those. So like
it's made
kind of
by the same people.
Raven Software, a legendary developer. We'll get into that some other time.
It's actually kind of cool is that I was actually watching a documentary about Ultimate Alliance, and they said that so they had all the mechanics all set up from X-Men Legends, so they were able to release Ultimate Alliance the next year.
Yeah, like that's why I needed to mention X-Men Legends 1 and 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like Diablo-esque kind of games. I need to play them. Honestly, I really do.
You haven't played Ultimate Alliance?
Or X-Men Legends.
Wow. That is a sin, bro.
It is. It is.
Because you can make your own team. I literally named one the Justice League.
Why am I not surprised?
And I have so here's my league. Thor is my Superman. Carol Danvers is my Wonder Woman, back when she was cool. Moon Knight is my Batman for obvious reasons. And see who else did I put on the Justice League? I believe I put on Captain America for the inspirational hero.
Of course. He's just Captain America.
I would put on Hyperion, but he's not on the console version. Because I swear, if they gave me the Squadron Supreme, I'd just create a Supreme, rename the Justice League. We're good to go. I got my team.
All right. So obviously there's some heavy hitters, but I kind of wanted to talk about some of the other ones. So we got got X-Men Origins Wolverine,
which was way better than the movie. Jeez, that's God of War, but Wolverine.
Yep, and then we got the game that every Superman fan references when talking about Superman game, and every one of those people who references have never actually played the game, Superman Returns. I swear every time someone we talk about a Superman game, Superman Returns had the city of the health bar. Like, have you actually played the game? Like, it's still bad. It's still like, sure, that's a decent idea, but the game is still
no
bad.
But what the reason why I bring that up is because one of the hard parts about doing a Superman game is dealing with a character that's virtually invulnerable, and the reason I bring that up because I'm like, okay, that's a cool way of addressing that because you're pretty much invincible in that game. I mean, you could be knocked down, but
get back up again, then everyone keeps you down.
Yes, exactly. And also the fun part is that if you put on the cheat codes, which I did, which gives you invulnerable city, you can just turn into Homelander and like wreck the city. It's so much fun because the cars actually fly when you use your super breath.
So you can reenact the end of Man of Steel.
I can actually, well, kind of, and I know I could recreate the Nightmare timeline. And what's cool is that you can use the suit from the game, from the movie. You could use the silver flight suit he wore briefly in the beginning of the movie. And you can wear the classic Superman suit with the stupid red trunks. That's why I have to bring that up. And there was a Man of Steel mobile game, by the way, with Cavill. Which I got to check that out. But yeah, I mean, that's why I bring that up because it had interesting ways of addressing the common, like, difficulties that people cite for a Superman game. It's not perfect by any means. Speaking of perfect games, though, we do have the Arkham series.
Oh, I was gonna save that one for last because that's what we're gonna be talking about at length. I just kind of want to go over some other kind of important ones. So we got Deadpool. I was watching gameplay from that. It's awesome. So gameplay wise, it's a bit, generic. Not bad per se, but it is, like kind of your standard hack and slash game. It's really the spot on humor and tone of the game that makes it work. Because gameplay wise, it's nothing special. Not bad per se, but it's nothing special.
You can jump on his thought bubbles.
Yeah, like I said, the game gets Deadpool, which is why it's, And then also,
thing I've met the voice actor who plays Deadpool. I have his autograph right up there with my Superboy picture.
You met Nathan Drake?
Yes, I did.
I love how you had to think for a second. Oh yeah, he voiced Nathan Drake.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the point when my dad and I were watching the Uncharted movie and he cameos, like, hey.
Yeah, you mean you do know that the voices of Joel and Ellie cameoed in The Last of Us.
And by the way, there's a chance I could meet the voice of Joel in this Saturday because Troy Baker is going to be at SuperCon.
He's also the voice of the Joker. Okay.
He's also the joke of the Hulk. He's also the voice of the Hulk.
I gotta say this. Next to Mark Hamill, Troy Baker is my favorite Joker.
Yeah, because and I was just watching a documentary on Arkham Origins. The reason why they went with different voice actors is because they wanted to. Because at this point, the characters were younger, so they wanted to communicate that they were younger people.
Wait, in Arkham City?
Arkham Origins. Because he did the Joker in Arkham Origins.
Honestly, what I like about Troy Baker's Joker is Troy Baker's Joker kind of has a little bit more of a menace to it. Like it's more menacing. Like trust me, like Hamill's can be, but it's like Hamill's is more skewed towards like the laugh,
and
like
comedic,
the insanity of it. Like trust me, Harvey Hamill's can be menacing, but like Troy Baker's can be downright terrifying.
Yeah, he's like the Jared Leto Joker in that he's like kind of concerning,
but actually concerning.
I mean, we still have to watch the Ayer cut, which I've heard has
all right. Speaking of all this DCU crap, we got to mention certain MMO that blossomed during this time that that
we all play, and it's fantastic. By the way, I have to do this. I have to do this. Screecher,
Atlas.
There you go.
We will reveal the origins of that in time, but
there's a reason. There's a legitimate reason why I did that.
Oh, just wait till the crossover.
And by the way, that's gonna happen when we stream that many times.
Yes. So, okay, we've kind of we were talking about the MCU games, but let's just kind of shove that to the side. Let's talk about the real big game that came out this generation, Batman Arkham Asylum.
Thank you. I recently replayed all the Arkham games, so this is all fresh in my mind. And I'm like, geez, first off, these guys did their research. Like, these guys knew what they understood the assignment when they were told, make a kick-ass Batman game. Plus, it's written by Paul Dini, arguably the real creative mind behind Batman, the animated series. I'm going to say that because I'm convinced the only contribution that Bruce Timm gave is the character designs and the Bat-cest. Nick's face is the best.
We're going to talk after the stream.
Yes, thank you. But anyway, they got a kick-ass Batman writer. They got the voice cast from the show for Batman and Joker.
I've heard this game be described as an R-rated episode of Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah, it is. Let me put it this way: it's Batman the Animated Series if it were directed by Zack Snyder. That's what it is.
I love how you just almost said Zack Snyder's Justice League out of habit.
Why would a movie be directing a game? But anyway, which by the way,
the movie is so. I mean, the movie is so awesome. It might as well direct its own game.
Yeah, and for this game,
just imagine like the Blu-ray of Zack Snyder's Justice League with like a megahorn being like, "All right, you got to do it like this."
that should be a meme. But anyway, it's like art directing art. But anyway, this game does fantastic job of introducing Batman's lore. Like, they do it in small bites, even up to the first cutscene, the first time you're walking down those things is legitimately terrifying at times. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it had a really creative way of doing boss fights, like when you're fighting Killer Croc and you have to move really slow because otherwise he will attack you.
Wait! I got to do this. I've got your scent, Batman. I'm gonna hunt you down, eat your bones. And
then you had like Bane.
Tell me that was good. That
was good. I like that. And it's like, nothing will ever feel more satisfying in a superhero game than that final punch that goes into slow motion in the Arkham games when you take out the last enemy. I'm like, yes. That combat system, by the way, somehow in this game they managed to fully make you feel like you're Batman.
Well, the thing about that combat system is it's heavily influenced pretty much every game going forward. Like we're talking about Spider-Man 2018. The combat system is basically just a Spider-Man-ized version of the Batman system.
That Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure the Wonder Woman game is going to use that.
Yeah. Also, there may or may not be a reference to Arkham Asylum in a future issue of Screecher.
I know what Nick is referring to, and trust me, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you thought the first game was good, then we get to Arkham City, which opens it. By the way, the one thing that I think is kind of weird about Arkham Asylum is that there's conveniently placed gargoyles inside a building. But
I mean, it's an insane asylum, so it has insane architecture.
Well, that's true, and also it is kind of cool seeing like the asylum change throughout the game, and the fact that, by the way, the creative said that what they wanted to do, they wanted to use the cape as sort of like a visual depiction of how far you've come in the game because it gets torn and stuff. Then when you find out that Batman has another Batcave in Arkham Asylum, and I'm like, of course you do, of course you do.
I mean, as important as that location is, it actually does make a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense considering how many times he has to go there too. But so then you get to Arkham City, which basically means you get to fly pretty much up until this point, the closest you can get to gliding across the skies of Gotham.
Fly through the air with the greatest of ease.
Okay, and then you can even play as Catwoman too for that one, and you get that kick-ass Mr. Freeze boss battle where you can't use the same tactic twice.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop, I'll admit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, luckily there's enough stuff around you that you can like figure it out.
I just love Mr. Freeze. I love his story, and it just obviously I'm a kicker for like the snow aesthetic, so it's just like I just want Mr. Freeze and everything.
By the way, fun fact: if you pay attention, as Bruce Wayne is being brought in to Arkham City in the very beginning of the game. When you first see Arkham City, if you look up on the top, you can see Azrael watching you walk in. So there is that, and they bring in a lot of characters they couldn't bring in the other game. It's like this game again. You can pick up any one of these games and understand Batman's lore. Then you get to Arkham Origins, which criminally underrated game. Criminally underrated because it's the origin of Batman's thing with the Joker, which is actually really cool.
And the origin of Harley Quinn and just lots of
original stuff. Harley Quinn. What's kind of cool is, by the way, so if you have the like Return to Arkham editions of City, you can free roam as the animated series Batman. And Dark Knight Returns Batman, and they change his face shape to look like the Dark Knight Returns Batman. You can even free roam as the Sinestro Corps member Batman. You can't use the constructs, but still, it's like, okay, that works. Then you get to Arkham Knight, which basically turned into actually, no, that's in the next generation. I just realized that.
Which, by the way, let's talk about the next generation.
Okay, so right. Arkham Knight. So basically,
fair enough. I mean,
it's a transition, baby.
Fair enough.
So
go for it, bro. Go for it.
Arkham Knight. It gets a lot of heat for turning into Arkham Tank Simulator because there's like an inordinate amount of like tank puzzles and Batmobile puzzles. But I always attribute that to, by the way, so what they did. I just learned this when they were designing the
WB be like, are you not entertained?
Yeah, and by the way, in this game you can free roam as the '89 Batmobile and suit. Batmobile and suit, the Tumbler and suit, and my personal favorite and the only suit I ever used, the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice suit and Batmobile. And they sound like they're Batmobiles, by the way. So
when you do your Let's Play of Arkham Knight, there's only one skin for Batman.
No, I'm using that. Yeah, exactly. But
you're going to go the whole game as BVS Batman.
So fun fact is that when they were designing how the Batmobile plays, they still the guy who like animated Batman for the game was the one who worked on the Batmobile, and they did that as opposed to like having like someone that does racing games come in and do the Batmobile. They did that because they wanted the Batmobile to feel like an extension of Batman instead of it being like a separate experience altogether. Which it works. And by the way, I love the honest trailer for it, where it's like, and you're facing the Arkham Knight, a young sounding man that uses guns and has an odd fascination with Batman. And if you haven't guessed who that is, then welcome to your first Batman story.
Oh, it's Tim Drake. It's Stephanie Brown.
I just removed you from your own show.
It's Dick Grayson. It's Damian Wayne. Payback, mother ducker. That's payback for earlier.
What?
That was a great use of that. I'll give you that.
Thank you. But
payback is a biatch.
But it's like the amount of, but you can free roam as the original Detective 27 Batman skin.
Ooh.
And you can and the Neil Adams Batman skin is playable. All the Batman skins you can use in this, and you can free roam as like Red Hood and well, you can't free roam as Red Hood and Arkham
Do
Knight.
they have the
21
'89 Batman?
Yes, of course. They have the 89 Batman and the Batmobile that you can drive around in.
I have the game on Steam. I need to play it one of these days.
You need to play that. Let me guess. You're going to only use the 89 Batman. I'm going to use the BVS Batman.
Yeah, Peace on Earth.
What's kind of funny, though, and I just noticed this when I was playing it recently, and Tyler can back me up on this. So I was playing as Red Hood, and you can shoot people as Red Hood. But the thing is that when you go to Detective Vision, they'll read them as unconscious.
So he's just using knockout darts or something.
Or this was the biggest I call BS on this with Arkham Knight.
It was the biggest BVS?
No. Well, yeah. But this was my biggest, I'm calling BS when I was playing Gotham Knights, is in that they literally say Red Hood fires armor-piercing, non-lethal rounds.
Please, cue the Skeletor.
Yeah, please. Because immediately when I heard that, I was like, what? Yeah, because armor-piercing rounds are not our lethal, baby.
They're about as lethal as you can get.
Yeah, so how does that work?
So, seeing as how they pierce armor, you know what they also pierce?
What?
Flesh.
Well, yeah, and by the way, hiding behind a body apparently doesn't work. So there you go. For cover, it's cover and concealment. But
if
anyway,
you can pierce armor, it can pierce a body.
If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly, you got it.
All in all, I dogged the heck out of Arkham Knight, and you have to play it, dude. Plus the fact, if you pay attention to the environment, you'll find like the Black Canary Club. You'll see a reference to Helena Bertinelli. You'll get on Bruce Wayne's answering machine that you can hit. There'll be like a call from Lex Luthor, Vicky Vale, Kate Kane, and someone else named Stephanie, not that Stephanie, that talks about having a fun time with Bruce Wayne. Hint, hint. Yeah. So, and the thing about it, the thing that I love about these games is, by the way, it is BS that the Batmobile fires non-lethal rounds at the velocity to knock people. There are some parts of this where I'm like, okay, I get the non-killing rule, but this is going a little far. And this is going to my whole thing about Batman being a hypocrite because he talks about not using guns, but yet Arkham tank gun. But all in all, fantastic game.
But Jared, you say Batman doesn't use guns. Allow me to present to you Batman using guns.
Even I was on Nerdette stream and I had to explain to her that Pattinson both killed and used a gun. And I explained to her the Christopher Reeves killing General Zod in Superman 2, and then their response, because it was because the reason why we started talking about that is because I was talking about Man of Steel and Next Snap. I was defending that, and then they go, "Well, they didn't do it so brutal." And then someone in the chat goes, "What difference does it make if it's brutal? He killed Zod."
Yeah, that's just a movie. That's just another move. They're trying to move the goalpost.
And it's like even and I promise I'll drop this in a second, but you would appreciate this. So at first I brought up about how he punches Zod. Zod hits the wall and then lands and then goes in that pit. They go, well, did we see him die? Because that pit was pretty dark. And then I said, okay, regardless of that, the machine turns Kryptonians human, correct?
Yes.
And Superman punches Zod into a wall with that amount of force. Yeah, he's dead. But anyway, and
somehow that's less brutal than just snapping the neck. Because here's the thing. That might not have killed Zod, but he's going to die, except painfully. And actually, at least with Zod, it's an instant death versus you're going to die in a few hours, but you're going to be in agonizing pain the entire time.
Here's the difference, because Nerdette always over exaggerates and calls Henry Cavill Superman a murderer because of the Zod thing, and I'm like, no, actually the Christopher Reeves one is more attuned to a murderer because he didn't have to kill Zod at that moment. You could put him in any jail cell, he'll be fine. Where in this one, he literally last resorted it.
Yeah, like the biggest defense of Man of Steel is Zod didn't give him a choice. Like,
He said multiple times, either you die or I do.
and it's like he like the way he was holding him, he couldn't just like steer his neck the other way because he was trying to go this. He was in perfect snapping, like perfect position to snap the neck. That was literally the only thing he did. He couldn't just like put it down.
And Nerdette will always bring up, well, he could have put his hand in front of his eyes. I'm like, first off, we don't know if the heat vision will go through the hands. And second off, again, Zod said, I will not stop.
Oh, here's the thing about putting the hands. That lessens his grip on Zod.
Yeah, he can still break out of that hold.
Like, even if he does like here's the thing, okay? Let's
he's gonna recreate a neck snap.
Yeah. Alright, so this croc is Zod's head, alright?
Alright.
So he's got him like this,
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got like hold him like this. Like if he goes like this, all these muscles are now sorry, Courage is like trying to get into it.
And Zod could like punch him. Zod could break free and still heat vision that family. There was literally no choice.
Yeah.
And by the way,
he could have pushed his head down, but that would have been momentarily, and that gives Zod an opportunity to go back. It's like there is no option. There is no like 1 in a million chance.
He even said, "Don't do this." He like legit begged with Zod. And by the way, the honest trailer for Superman 78 actually brought up a fantastic argument because they had the Sun come in and defend Henry Cavill's Superman, and he goes, well, actually, him killing Zod actually would give him later on. It shows the origin of Superman's like thinking every life is sacred because he had to take a life.
Wait. Wouldn't that mean that Man of Steel is an origin movie and it tells how Superman became Superman? Wait, isn't that the entire point of the movie?
And then I brought up about how Zack was literally the next movie, if Zack had been able to do his plan, was Man of Steel 2, which would have had Superman in the classic thing. And then someone said, well, some could say you have to start like that. And I go, says who? Says who?
I mean, honestly, like him having to take a life and then vowing never to do it again. That is some damn good character build.
Here's the thing.
That is damn good character development right there.
And let's say, I know we're talking about Man of Steel 2, but there's a very special reason for this. And we know, let's say he introduced Supergirl in Man of Steel 2, and she was more of the brutal character and wanted to kill someone. Can you imagine Superman going to her and saying, trust me, I took a life once.
No.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
Even better. He says, what do you know about taking a life? You've never had taking a life. I have. And I vowed to never do it again.
Yeah, there you go. Also,
seriously, these moments write themselves.
Also, he even told Batman, stay down. If I wanted it, you'd be dead already, bro. Even Lex Luthor, he doesn't kill Lex Luthor after Lex kidnapped his mama.
And it's like, actually, I feel like him having to take a life and not wanting to do it again actually enhances the drama and the stakes. Because, like, it's something he doesn't want to do. And I know people love the clown on the no one ever stays good in this world. But that's his lowest point because he knows he might have to kill Batman.
And by the way...
Like, he doesn't want to do it. But, it's an emotional low point. Like, it works for the movie.
So you mean human and he's supposed to have like these doubts when he's trying to help people and everyone is against him? And remember, he may say he has to die. He literally could have ended that fight like that. And he said, no, I'm not. He tried so many times. He landed and he goes, Bruce, please, you have to listen to me, dude.
Yeah, even with knowing what he had to do, he was still desperately trying to reason with him.
Because I got news for you. Superman could have killed Batman easily in that fight because as soon as he lands, he could have taken him and flown him into the sun.
Now, granted, Superman didn't know about the kryptonite. I'm sure if he knew about the kryptonite, he probably would have played that a little bit differently. Like, he probably would have at least come straight down onto Batman and basically immobilize him right then and there.
Well, remember, the kryptonite was in another building, too. It's like, it wasn't even within Batman's reach.
But the thing is, Superman didn't know about it. But if he knew
Well,
about the
yeah.
Superman, if he knew about the Kryptonite before this fight even began.
No, but my point is, he still would not have killed Batman. That's the thing. Henry Cavill Superman, short of Zod, doesn't.
No, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said? If he had known about the Kryptonite, he would have played it differently. Like maybe come straight down, like initially at the outset, come straight down Superman and just totally immobilize him.
He would have mobilized him, but he wouldn't kill him.
Exactly, I agree. But what I'm saying is,
the thing.
The point I'm trying to make is, if he knew that like Batman had access to Kryptonite and what,
he would have ended that fight like that. And also, they ignore the fact with the Man of Steel fight. This is Superman's first fight against someone that could legitimately put up a fight to him.
Like honestly, I actually do really love the moment where like they're fighting and like Batman blocks a punch. You see the
look on his face.
And I'm sorry, Zach, I gotta give you credit. I love how they do the camera pan around, because like, you know how they follow the 160-degree rule? That he actually breaks the 160-degree rule to show literally the tables have turned. I'm sorry, Zach. That was genius camera movement.
Adding on the fact that when Batman's punching Cavill and all of a sudden he just stops moving and then Batman's like backs away. No, by the way, this has to be a video we do on Comics League because this should be awesome. But my point is that.
But did you realize what that camera move meant? Like, did you realize what that meant? Like, literally, it's a cinematic language to be like the tables have turned. Because in cinema and in visual mediums, there's this thing called the 180 degree rule, where if you have two people, you know, boop, 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 you don't go from like here because it's all about orientation. And the fact that Zach literally broke the 180 degree rule was a great representation of the tables have turned.
And I love the Ben Affleck line where he goes, "You're not brave, men are brave." I'm like, oh yeah, this is dope. Okay, so anyway,
no.
Yeah.
My favorite line is, "Breathe it in. That's fear." That is such a great line.
That's Batman right there, baby. That is Batman.
And Dr. Crane, in his cell in Arkham, he literally hears that line go, I think I just got hard.
The F word was just said.
What?
The F word, the fear word.
You sorry, you kind of got me off track there, but like.
No, but that's what I will say. People always ignore, because here's what it is, Nick. People excuse stuff if it's their favorite version of the character.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I get that that's natural because there are people that excuse Keaton killing people in order to diss on Batfleck, ignore Superman killing people in 78, which, and I said this on the stream, every version of these characters on screen has killed people. I'm sorry, because here's the thing, the general audience is not going to buy that you have these people. Yeah.
I love your passion.
Yeah.
And this is a great discussion for another stream.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know I'm going crazy here, but it's all right.
I mean, I love the discussion. Don't get me wrong. We'll have this another time. It's just we're kind of getting a little bit long here, and there's a few other games I want to go in before we kind of start wrapping up. So we're in the 8th gen. Let's talk about a game that people know about that really didn't do so well, the Avengers.
Okay, you know what? I think I have to actually play this right here. Hang on, where is it?
Why did you say that name?
I love how we just got done talking about BVS and
there you go. But all right, well, here's the thing. I enjoyed the Avengers for what it was. You know, it's kind of funny. For some reason, here's my gaming history in a nutshell. I never get any of the glitches people complain about in games. For some reason, I must always get the most perfect copy of the game.
Well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah, so I'm like, I didn't encounter any of this stuff, or I didn't notice. But my one problem with the Avengers game is that it became a Kamala Khan story in an Avengers game. There's a reason why I never play. There's a reason why everyone else in my roster is like level 40, level 30, and she's like level 9.
Wow.
I only played as her. The parts that made me play as her, then I was like, nope, get out.
Yeah, that was a game where like it could have been a good experience, but they were too concerned with like microtransactions and being too much of a live service that it just kind of imploded on itself.
I will say though, The Avengers game was kick-ass when you played as Thor. You played as
Let's talk-
Thor, they made you feel like the God of Thunder.
Let's talk about the game that did everything right, kind of out of the exact opposite. So we've been talking a lot about Spider-Man, and I really had to fight hard, not like, because if I didn't stop myself, I could literally populate this entire list with just various Spider-Man adaptations. Because trust me, they run enough of a gamut that I could if I wanted to. But I want to bring other games because like there's plenty of other ones I could talk about, like Shattered Dimensions, Maximum Carnage, all that stuff. But the one game that really brought everything together was Spider-Man 2018.
That's the PS4 Spider-Man game.
I am gone. I don't think this will be too controversial to say that is peak Spider-Man.
Yep. I played it and I've watched all the cutscenes. The story's solid. The references, because you can play as the Bodacious Bagman.
My favorite reference, I think you know what I'm about to say, is when he's in the subway and he tries like, and it's like he's like, that totally worked last time. I love that because like
it's referencing that Toby moment.
I did take a screenshot of that moment, but I was wearing the 2099 suit and I regretted it because like I should have been wearing the web suit.
Yeah, you should have been wearing the Tobey Maguire on the replay. You have to do that.
Yeah, for sure. If I do a New Game Plus, yeah, I'm definitely wearing that suit.
Plus the fact that's the dude they give you with the white highlights. That is dope. I love that suit.
The advanced suit?
Yeah, the advanced. The suit he gets, that's like his main suit for most of the game.
Yeah, like honestly, at some point, I want to get like a dye sub Spider-Man suit. Like those are like kind of like little kind of like cloth suits you can get, like have really detailed designs. They're usually like $150-$200. And get them off like various Spider-Man designs. I would probably do the advanced suit. Like as much as I like either the advance or
Toby.
Well, Toby, it has a raised, like the raised webbing, so like a dye substitute is flat, so it would look kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you could have like that kind of Spider-Man suit, which one would you get?
Probably the one from either Far From Home or the like hybrid suit from No Way Home. Because I really like the hybrid suit in No Way Home. Either that or the classic black suit.
All right, Jared, I am going to send you something on Twitter, and I'm going to make your day.
Make my day.
All right, check out Twitter. What I just sent you.
Print costume, Arachnid Spider. Let me see. Yes.
I think you just found your next Halloween costume.
$65. It's not bad.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of these. Like, there's a bunch of these people that make these. They're dye sub. That's a process.
I want to see. Do they have the Henry Cavill black suit?
Oh, they got a Venom one.
Yeah. By the way, we're just checking out suits right now. They don't have Superman.
Because usually I think they're meant to be full body. Here's a shiny Superman new dye sub Lycra costume.
I'm trying to get the Superman black suit from the Snyder Cut. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these.
They got some good ones. Jeez, I found some good ones.
Updated muscle base.
They have one that's the okay. Here we go. I found it. I wonder if this has the texture. No, it doesn't have. Oh, it kind of does have the texture. I'm going to share a screen real quick.
I'm about to make you very happy.
Check this out.
Ooh. Look at what I just sent you.
On Twitter or in the private chat?
Twitter.
All I got is the previous link, dude.
Oh, shit. All right. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh, I like this. By the way, if I get a 3D printer, I'm gonna start making bat cowls. Muscle base, yeah, I like that. I like how they designate crotch. Yeah, I know what that location on the suit is.
Yeah.
But yes, this is actually pretty cool. Because what I was thinking what we could do for Halloween is that we do a Halloween stream where we all dress up as like various superheroes.
Oh yeah. For sure. I would probably do Power Rangers, honestly.
And actually, what I should do is if I get the Superman suit, I should get a mannequin also and stand it up right there when I'm not wearing it and have in the background like where my trident is.
Okay.
That'd be dope. But anyway, back to the stream, back to the episode. I know we really delayed this, but I'm legit looking into this because this will be really fun.
Oh, we're talking about the Raimi suit. Look at that one. But anyway, we can talk about this after the stream. So before we go, I want to talk about. So I do have a Patreon, and we are recording this on a Monday, and it's supposed to go live on a Wednesday. So if you want to watch this episode a day early, because like I'll be editing and uploading it tonight and whatnot, you can do so by becoming a member of my Patreon for a very low price. What you get is Patreon access. You get behind the scenes stuff. I'll post like behind the scenes photos of my comics and all that stuff. And I do streams. There's movie nights and whatnot. So please subscribe to my Patreon. Link will be in the description below. So Jared, let's just kind of eschew the top 5 because we've let this thing kind of falter. I mean,
basically,
we talk well.
Mine is the Arkham games and Justice League Heroes. That's it.
All right. So this has been Nick and Courage and Jared from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it. Bye.